I want to first acknowledge and congratulate you on your newly appointed role. I stand here today knowing that this moment is bigger than me. When I stand in this house, I do not stand alone. I carry with me the people who made this possible, my family, my campaign team, my community. And to my husband, Chuck, who has been by my side through every high and low of this political journey and truly has championed my success and my career, I love you and thank you. I carry with me my 3 miracle children who are the reason I fight for a better future for British Columbia. To my parents, Rodney Ramkasoon, Angel Isaacs, my stepdad, Gregory, my siblings, Nikki, Mark, Chrissy, my extended family in Canada and Trinidad and Tobago, my birthplace, your love and support have carried me here. To my incredible team, B. McLeod, Mary Holtby, Shirlene Lynch, Adrian Tarcia, Val Andres, Josh Reynolds, and Joshua Dominich, who was my campaign team, your work ethic and my campaign manager, your work ethic and your encouraging demeanor is second to none. And now stepping into your own role in this building as an LA, I couldn't be more prouder of you. You all gave your time and energy so generously as you knocked on doors, made phone calls, rallied volunteers, and showed up, rain or shine, to see me stand here today. Your belief in me was much greater than just a campaign, and I thank you so much for everything. To my sign team, my door knockers, my fundraisers, my community leaders, my church family, to the people who donated to my campaign, my colleagues, those who prayed for me. Listen, this list goes on and on. To those who didn't want to be in the spotlight but helped behind the scenes because they believed in what we were building, I appreciate you all so much. To my constituency team, Sean, Mark, Chelsea, and Candace, your passion and your vision for community, Abbotsford Mission, for our community, Abbotsford Mission, will be the fuel to see the change our constituency needs. Honorable Speaker, I carry with me the ones I have lost along this journey this year. My father-in-law, Ron Gasper, who was so proud of my victory and understood the cost that this political role requires because he walked it himself. My dear friend, Nancy Zapach, who bravely fought cancer until the very end. And my 92-year-old grandfather, Charles Mondesir, who cheered me on faithfully as I ran this race. I cherish their support, and I am fueled by a desire to see their legacy carried forward in the manner I steward this office. But this is not about me. This is about the people I serve. It is about the single mother working 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. The senior waiting in pain because our healthcare system is failing them. The young couple watching their dream of home ownership slip further out of reach. These stories are not distant issues to me. They are the daily realities of my constituents, and their voices will be heard in this chamber. I will make sure of that, Mr. Speaker. Mission and Abbotsford are 2 unique, diverse, and dynamic communities that embody the hardworking spirit of British Columbia. Mission, with its rich history, strong community ties, and breathtaking natural surroundings, blends small-town charm with growing economic opportunity. Abbotsford, known as the agricultural heart of BC, is home to farmers, entrepreneurs, and families working tirelessly to build a better future. From the vibrant neighborhoods of Mission to the rolling farmlands of Matsqui Prairie, my constituents represent the very best of what this province has to offer. This budget before us is more than just numbers on a page. It is a statement of values. It questions priorities, and it will reveal what this government puts first. Will they prioritize political optics, or will they prioritize people? Will they make life easier for families, or will they continue down a path that makes it harder for families across British Columbia to afford the basics? British Columbians are not asking for the impossible. They're asking for leaders to listen, for a government that delivers, for a province where they can build a future and not just scrape by. As the official opposition critic for childcare, children, and youth with support needs, this responsibility I hold so close to my heart, because at the very center of a thriving society are our children. They are our greatest investment, our brightest hope, and our shared responsibility. Being a mother has deepened my perseverance to fight for better services for families across British Columbia. And I know what it means to want the best for our children. I want them to have opportunities to feel safe, to be supported in their growth and their learning. And this is why I will always push for policies that ease the burden on parents and prioritize children's well-being, that build a future where every child has resources they need to thrive. The 2025 budget presented to us tells us what our government values and what they're choosing to invest in and where they're deciding to make sacrifices. A budget needs to be a roadmap to stability, growth, and opportunity for British Columbians. And I wish with every fiber of my being to somewhat be hopeful, but I am deeply disappointed and profoundly concerned with this budget. It does not provide meaningful solutions to the affordability crisis, nor does it offer real investments to fix our broken healthcare system. It doesn't support working families or strengthen our economy. It is a budget filled with uncertainty, misplaced spending, and a growing burden of debt that will weigh down future generations. What makes this even more concerning is the response I have started getting from my constituents about the cuts to programs by this government. I have heard from residents who are saddened and frustrated, people who rely on these services and are now left wondering, how will they move forward? The feedback is one of disappointment and fear. And as they come with the terms of the reality of what these cuts mean for their families, their businesses, and their future. I understand that it is difficult to satisfy every person in every industry. But we have been handed a financial framework that raises the costs across the board, from fuel to groceries to transportation and essential services. A key driver of these rising costs is this government's decision to move ahead with a punishing 19% increase to the carbon tax. On April 1st, the Premier is raising the price of gasoline by 3.3 cents per litre. This increase will make life more expensive for every British Columbian, raising the cost of filling up a tank, heating a home, and putting food on the table. Despite the economic threat to BC's families from American tariffs, this government has chosen to move forward with tax hikes that will only make things harder. And even if the government chooses to scrap it down the road, the burden will simply shift elsewhere and someone will still have to pay for it. At a time when British Columbians are facing rising inflation, job insecurity, and growing affordability crisis, this government has chosen to deepen the financial strain rather than provide a path forward. British Columbia's economy entering 2025 is marked by uncertainty and transition. The provincial government is contending with U.S. trade tariffs, even as it tries to maintain growth. The budget forecasts a staggering $10.9 million deficit as the province attempts to invest in jobs and infrastructure to buffer economic headwinds. But, Honourable Speaker, where is the plan? There is no clear strategy in this budget to address the potential economic blow that tariffs could deliver. The United States remains one of our largest trading partners, and any new tariffs could have devastating consequences for key BC industry, forestry, manufacturing, and agriculture. Communities like Abbotsford Mission, with its diverse mix of agriculture, industry, and small business, are especially vulnerable. Growth alone does not secure economic stability. Without a solid trade strategy and economic protections, workers and businesses in these industries will bear the cost of this government's decision to leave BC in a vulnerable position. British Columbians are being handed a growing deficit, rising costs, and higher taxes without any roadmap to navigate these challenges. The government has been reactive instead of proactive. Housing affordability and homeless are at the front and center issues in Abbotsford and Mission, and BC at large. Residents identify homelessness, affordable housing, and crime as some of their top 3 concerns in our region. And these concerns are not unfounded, as housing costs have continued to rise, outpacing local income growth and putting home ownership out of reach for many families. There are no adequate measures to address the affordability gap. They fail to address the root causes of the crisis, leaving many families struggling to find stable housing. Homelessness has become across BC remains a visible and pressing issue, exacerbated by the housing shortage and the opioid addiction crisis. Abbotsford, like other urban centres, has struggled with encampments, and there remains a significant gap in meaningful progress on the ground. Community advocates in the Fraser Valley emphasize the need for a comprehensive approach, not just building more housing, but expanding mental health and addiction services, job trainings, preventative measures to address the root cause of homelessness. Social inequity remains a major challenge, with certain groups such as single-parent families, Indigenous people, and new immigrants facing higher rates of economic hardship. Adding to these concerns, public safety remains a critical issue across our province. Crime, including property offenses, gang-related violence, and random stranger attacks have heightened anxiety in our communities like Abbotsford Mission. Additionally, the opioid crisis in British Columbia is not just a health emergency, it is a catastrophe that this government has allowed to spiral out of control. Instead of tackling the root causes of addiction, the government has doubled down on harm reduction strategies that have failed to make our communities safer. The decriminalization of illicit drugs, including fentanyl, has not curbed overdoses or provided real pathways to recovery, but it has fueled public disorder, increased crime, and made our streets less safe. Mr. Speaker, as a mother, I know how important affordable and available childcare is for working families. It is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And yet, despite this, the Premier campaigned on a $10 a day childcare promise that has failed to become a reality for the vast majority of families. The Premier campaigned on affordable, accessible childcare for all, with a $10 a day promise. But families across British Columbia heard that, bought into it, believed it, planned their future around it, budgeted for it, and yet only 10% of families in British Columbia are actually paying $10 a day. I'll say that again. And yet only 10% of families in British Columbia are actually paying $10 a day. The rest, they're still waiting, they're still struggling, they're still paying exorbitant fees because this government has failed to expand access in a meaningful way. As a mother, I understand these struggles. I remember what it was like to arrange childcare for my own children. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it was a nightmare. There were days when it felt impossible to find available space, and when you found one, the cost was overwhelming. Like so many other working parents, I had to make difficult choices. Do I adjust my work schedule? Do I sacrifice my family income? Do I accept a subpar care because it's the only option available? Mr. Speaker, no parent should have to make these choices. Stable childcare allows parents to provide for their children, to contribute to the economy, to build a better future, and yet the government has frozen childcare funding at $865 million. Not a single new dollar has been invested to expand spaces or help struggling families. Let's be clear about the facts, Mr. Speaker. Childcare wait lists remain years long, forcing parents between giving up their jobs or paying thousands per month for private care. The minister claims record investments, but what good are record investments if they never reach the families who need them the most? Parents were promised relief, but this budget delivers no new spaces, no additional support, no meaningful expansion of access. Alarmingly, when questioned about the creation of infant-toddler childcare spaces in last year's estimate debates, the minister revealed that there were only 20,100 government-funded spaces, enough for approximately 15% of the children who need or want access to group childcare for children under 3 years old. During the same estimate debates, the minister also shared troubling data regarding before and after school care, revealing that there were only 44,800 spaces available across all of BC, despite a population of over 500,000 children between the ages of 5 and 14. Mr. Speaker, this equates to a coverage rate of 11% for before and after school care. And to put it in another way, despite billions of dollars having been invested as we enter year 8 out of a 10-year commitment to create universal childcare across BC, approximately 85% of children under 3 years old who want or need access to infant-toddler spaces, and 89% of children of age 5 to 14 who want and need before and after space still do not have it. As a result, parents are being pushed out of the workforce because they cannot find care. Families are being forced to rearrange their entire lives just to accommodate unreliable, unaffordable childcare. Children who would benefit from high-quality early learning experiences are being left behind. Mr. Speaker, British Columbia parents deserve better than broken promises. They deserve a government that truly values family and will not just make announcements. They deserve real solutions. They deserve an expansion of childcare spaces so that no family is left without options. British Columbians deserve better, and our children deserve better. Caring for a child with disabilities or special needs is a journey filled with love, resilience, and determination. Every parent wants to see their child thrive, to give them every possible opportunity to succeed. But for too many families in British Columbia, that journey is marked by struggle, endless wait lists, bureaucratic hurdles, and a system that makes it harder, not easier, to access support. Families of children with autism, Down syndrome, fetal alcohol syndrome disorder, and complex medical conditions have fought for years to be heard. They have shared their stories in town halls, in letters to government, in advocacy groups, and not out of frustration alone, but out of deep, unwavering love for their children. They have told us about years-long wait lists just to get an assessment, delaying crucial early interventions. Parents are having to leave their job because care is too expensive or unavailable. Families on the brink of crisis because trying to find the right support for their child is not available. These are not isolated cases. These are the daily realities for thousands of British Columbians. And I would be remiss, because I've sat in rooms with moms that have told me these stories. And yet, despite all of this, the budget for 2025 cuts funding for children and youth with support needs. Mr. Speaker, this is not just a number on a page. It means fewer services. It means fewer resources for families who are already struggling. It means delays and more stress and more children being left without the support they need. This government says it's investing in children, but if that were true, then parents wouldn't be waiting years for services, and schools wouldn't be struggling to accommodate students with complex needs, and families wouldn't feel like they're navigating the system alone. The representative for children and youth has repeatedly said that our province's services for kids with special needs are underfunded, under-resourced, and inaccessible. But despite the funding for budget 25, the funding for budget 25 was reduced by $590 million to $585 million. I have so much to say, and I'm running out of time. I want to read you this quote, because this isn't just words on a page that I've sat at a computer and wrote. These are real stories. The editor from BC Disability says, while the provincial government made investments to keep up with the anticipated increase in the number of British Columbians receiving disability assistance, the failure to raise the rates or significantly improve other supports is deeply disappointing. While the assistant rates far below the poverty line already, the cost of living having increased substantially over the last few years, persons with disability have been left to struggle as much as ever to afford the basic, yet alone to invest in education or training to get ahead. Instead of merely expanding access to an inadequate system that keeps people locked in poverty, the government must take a bolder step to transform the system so that people can get ahead. You get the point. It's devastating. And I'm pretty passionate about it because it's our kids. When I ran for this campaign, people would ask me, what are your platforms? What are you running for? And I said to them, I could give you a list. There's a lot broken, Mr. Speaker, in our society. I could give you a list. But I'm running for your family. I'm running for my family. I'm running for our kids. So while I have concerns, I also have hope. because that's who I am. And I believe that if we work together, if we truly listen to the needs of families and workers and communities, we can do better. Because British Columbians are resilient, and our families are strong, and our workers are dedicated, and our communities are filled with people who care deeply about each other. It is time to build a future that prioritizes affordability for families. It is time to make sure that every child, regardless of ability and background or circumstances, have the opportunity to succeed. It is time to commit to supporting our healthcare workers and our teachers and our small business owners, for everyone who contributes to making this province. I believe we can do better, because at the end of the day, that's what British Columbians expect of us. Not division, but solutions. And that is exactly what I will continue to fight for.